Hello, friends.
Hi.
It is me, Flip.
And me, Ange.
And we are here with a Thursday midweek episode of Crushed and Pressed. I know, right? Isn't that exciting? We're here.
We made it
again.
to Thursday.
We showed up. We're here.
Yes. We're doing the thing.
We're doing the thing,
We are here.
guys. We are doing the thing.
My God.
Oh. Okay. Ange, how's your week?
Pretty good. No complaints. Started book 2 in the side series because my cleanings are like really long. And so it's like 2 days and I'm through an entire book. So that's good. And then we got a new president. So that's good. And yeah, that's about it.
Yes. Okay.
That's where I'm at. Yeah. I got both critters. That's, yeah. Sorry, y'all. Both animals in here right now.
For some reason, like, I know that this week is only 4 days, but it feels like it's been just dragging on for fucking ever.
Uh-huh.
Like,
is it all the Bernie memes? Has it made it seem a lot longer? I love it.
This is how I'm going to sit in the stream from now on. Bernie Sanders
mittens.
style. With his mittens on. My favorite one is the one that says, like, what was it? The one that says, like, something meeting, Joe's thing, drop items off at the post office. Like, he's just so casually like, God, man, how long is this going to take? There's another one where he's sitting like this, and it's like, when the meeting could have been an email.
This could have been an email.
Or the other one that says, I was told there'd be bagels.
Shit. My favorite one just popped up in all my like musical theater peoples, and it's the Pop 6 Squish healthcare Lipschitz, and I'm like, oh no, he's sitting there saying healthcare,
universal healthcare for everyone. Changed my mind.
Yeah, sitting at the table.
Really, they're great. I don't know who is doing these, but you guys are fucking brilliant.
And so quick. I'm just so impressed with the meme activity over the last year. It's
level
just
of
so
like
good.
speed. But you know what? I think maybe it's because like a lot of things are shut down, so people just have the time to like throw into something like that. Yeah. Things are just fucking flowing.
That the ideas come that quick. I'm like, how?
Things are just fucking flowing. Right. But yeah, it's just been a really like long week. We've had a lot of shit going on. So yeah, I just, like I said, I just feel like it's just been like dragging. And I'm like, man, I cannot wait for this to be over. Okay.
Yay.
And what you drinking?
Water.
Okay, I feel that.
I know, but I've got 2 Selena cups.
Ooh.
One's got ice. One does not have ice. That's where we're at today. I know. I'm trying to stay hydrated.
I have a fruit punch Gatorade and a strawberry cucumber sparkling water. So these are the ones that I told you about. Like some of them, they have the ginger green tea citrus flavor and the chocolate raspberry flavor, I think it is, or black cherry.
Is that the one that
chocolate black cherry? And it's got caffeine in it.
That's right. Is there something else in there that has like a mango or something involved that I tried one time?
They do have a mango flavor. They do have a mango flavor.
Okay. It was good.
But these are it's just sparkling water, but this one doesn't have caffeine. I did not grab a caffeinated. I probably should.
Cucumber.
Yes, it's
it sounds fresh.
It is. I mean, like cucumber mint is my favorite sparkling water flavor. But this is good. I am on call tonight, so I will let you all know that right now. I am on call, so if I do have to like just dip out, I'm just gonna be like deuces and dip out.
Yep. And we'll Papa Joey in place, so that way I'm not sitting here going, it's over, I can't shut anything down.
Yes.
All of a sudden I just leave the stream. I'm like, bye.
We'll Papa Joey in if we get to that point. Okay.
Yay.
Okay, you know, it's Thursday. We always give you guys a news update. First of all, yesterday was the inauguration.
In case you missed it.
In case you missed it, because that was an all-day fucking affair. So
yeah, that's true.
It was an all-day affair. So if you missed it, it was an all-day affair.
Lots of good looking clothes though, and nice looking people.
Yes.
I was pretty excited.
Can I just say,
really
was it the inauguration or was it like New York Fashion Week? Like, what happened?
I know. The jewel tones. I was like, look how pretty.
Oh my god, that's another one of
this cold.
That's another one of my favorites. It's Bernie Sanders next to Michelle Obama, and it's like how my friends dress in their cute winter clothes, how I look in the winter.
Because I looked at it and I went, oh, it's me. It's calling me out. I don't ever look cute in wintertime. I'm like 8 layers. Let's go.
All right, so let's just get started. I have just a bunch of articles pulled up here. I'm just gonna whip through them. A Colorado man was charged on Tuesday with first-degree murder in the killing of a man whose dismembered remains were discovered in 2 suitcases, one of which was linked to the killer.
Dumbass.
Benjamin Sauterwhite, who's age 28, is also charged with 1 count of tampering with a deceased human body and the death of 33-year-old Joshua Lockhart. This is the way they found this is just absolutely wild. So, okay,
is it already ringing?
No.
Okay, I was like,
so city employees were plowing snow from the sidewalk along Sanderson Gulch in Denver on the morning of December 29th and found 2 suitcases, one purple and one black. One of the employees opened the suitcase and found a foot and called 911. And then the investigators noticed that there was a baggage claim sticker on it.
You dumb shit.
Yes, and
it wasn't even like fingerprints or something. There was just a label with
at
his
the
name
bottom
and
of the baggage claim sticker was his last name and the location and his address. So, dude's an idiot.
Wow. A little bit.
If you are planning on murdering somebody, maybe don't leave your baggage claim tag on there.
Take off any identifying. Let's not give help, but
let's just think about that for a hot second. Like,
good Lord.
This one, a Missouri woman is being accused of tracking down her teenage brother's suspected murderer and killing him. Tatiana Kopich, who's age 21, she's been charged with 2nd-degree murder, according to the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office, and she remains in jail on a $200,000 bond. Her 16-year-old brother was fatally shot on January 10th in Kansas City, Missouri, and 3 days later, she shot and killed the suspected murderer, 36-year-old Keith Lars, in a parking lot.
Oh, wow.
She said that she believes that he might have been involved somehow.
So I need you to be 100% for me to back you up.
Shot him.
Oh. I don't know. That's some vigilante shit.
It is some true vigilante shit. Investigators were able to identify her as a suspect because of eyewitness accounts and surveillance video. During her questioning, she admitted to knowing where Lars would be before the shooting. She also admitted to shooting him, but said it was in self-defense because he had shot at her first. But during their investigation, they recovered messages sent by Tatiana to a contact whose name is Auntie, asking for bullets, saying, "LOL, I used too many on this bro."
Oh, honey.
And then she also sent a text to her dead brother that said, "I owe him that body."
Man. Oh, fucked with the wrong family.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
We've talked about the Vallow case many a time here.
Yes.
We just keep getting updates. So, police say that Lori Vallow's 3rd husband, Joseph Ryan, did actually die of natural causes. I don't know about all that. Sure. But they did say he died of natural causes.
Because of something else? No? Did he have a heart attack because of all of the drugs she put in his food?
Yeah, that's really all we've got on that one. Just that, he actually did die of natural causes.
Well, at least we're looking into it.
Right, but right now she is facing charges of desertion and non-support of dependent children, resisting or obstructing officers, criminal solicitation to commit a crime, contempt of court, and willful disobedience to the court process or order. And then her boyfriend is charged with 2 felony counts of conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence, and 2 felony counts of destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence.
Let's just keep slapping stuff on there. Good.
Yep, that's all we're doing here. We're just slapping shit on there.
John says, I mean, there's plenty of drugs to make it look like natural causes.
Right.
Just saying. Yep. Hi, John.
Oh man, where was the other one? Oh, that wasn't on this page. Sorry. I have so many pages
also,
open.
Your nails look real good.
Thanks.
Pretty.
A Georgia teenager was arrested. He was working at Kroger in Georgia, of course, and worked there for about 2 weeks before he made 40 phony returns and scammed them out of nearly $1 million worth of stuff.
Honey, work there a little longer first. Yeah. Spread it out over time.
Howdy.
Holy crap.
Howdy, John. He put them on credit cards. He made 400 returns for non-existent items, put them on credit cards. The returns ranged in price from $75 to $87,000.
Oh God, go big or go home. Holy shit.
And he used the money
to show up.
Right. He used the money that he received to buy 2 cars, clothes, and guns.
Idiot. At least pay off your student loan debt.
Come on, do something fucking useful with that. Do something useful with it.
Mm-hmm.
A minor boy and his mom are both suing Twitter, alleging that it benefited from and neglected to remove a video that exploited him. The video featured him and another minor and was retweeted at thousands of times and received at least 167,000 views.
What were they doing in the video?
According to the filing, Ayo, top fan, co-host, editor John, what title don't you have? Joey. So according to the filing of this lawsuit, one or multiple traffickers tricked the boy into providing explicit images to a Snapchat account that he believed belonged to another 16-year-old girl. After they obtained the content, the traffickers allegedly blackmailed the boy into providing a video that was spread on Twitter.
Teenagers should not be around social media. Wait till college.
Right. But after he realized what had happened, he contacted Twitter and they refused to remove the illegal material and instead continued to promote and profit from the sexual abuse of this child.
Well, Twitter, you can't do that.
Right. Twitter, of course, has not responded to this accusation. Twitter claims that they have a zero tolerance policy for any material that promotes or features child sexual exploitation. They have aggressively tried to fight online sexual abuse and have heavily invested in technology and tools to enforce that policy. Our dedicated teams work to stay ahead of bad faith actors and to ensure we are doing everything we can to remove content, facilitate investigations, and protect minors from harm, both offline and on.
Except for when they report it because they're in the video and you ignore it. Like, what the fuck?
Twitter. What? Oh no, baby, what is you doing?
You fucked up.
Oh no, baby, what is you doing?
Yep. Good. Well, I hope he wins.
Oh no, baby, what is you doing? I'm getting all kinds of text messages right now.
Oh God. Well, do you like 2 more news ones? I got a big ass story apparently. It's a lot longer than I thought.
The woman who was accused by a former partner of stealing Nancy Pelosi's laptop during the Capitol riot and allegedly planning to sell it to Russia was ordered released from jail under supervision today. The attorney...
How do you just sell shit to Russia?
I don't know. I mean, you can do anything on the internet. I'm going to be honest with you. So
I guess. Like, I wouldn't even know how to get a hold of, like, casual drugs. I just feel so stupid when it comes... I can't even find a good, like, plumber. I have to ask people. Like, I don't have a pet sitter. How do you sell a laptop to Russia? Guys, maybe I'm just stupid.
Her attorney says that the allegations against the client are overstated. And they claim that her ex-boyfriend is physically abusive.
Well, yeah, probably, but still, you made a choice.
Williams surrendered to authorities in Pennsylvania on Monday after her ex called the FBI multiple times, reporting having seen her in videos inside the Capitol. She's facing charges of aid, abet others to embezzle, steal, obstruct, influence, or impede any official proceeding, knowingly entering or remaining in restricted building or grounds without lawful authority, and violent entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds.
Yeah.
She remains under investigations. The magistrate that released her said that she was only released because she had no prior criminal record, but warned her and her mother that she could be criminally charged if she does not abide by the supervision requirements.
Yeah.
She is restricted to travel for all purposes for the criminal proceeding. She has home confinement with an ankle monitor, and her mother is a third-party custodian, which is
sounds
crazy.
About white. Because, I mean, somebody else would have been held without bail. Just saying.
What?
Or a really high bail.
What?
For a long time.
No, never.
Just saying. Did you hear about the girl that was going on? Was it what's the app where you swipe right to date
Tinder?
people? Thank you, Tinder. That she was going on Tinder right after the Capitol siege, and she was picking all the boys that were bragging about being there with their pictures and then reporting them to the FBI.
That's the way to do it, y'all. That's the way to do it.
Yep. She's like, let me just handle this.
Former President Donald Trump issued a full pardon early Wednesday morning to a man whose crime was illegal snake trafficking.
Stop it.
And there's oh my God, this news article. I just want you to know that this is from the Sun Sentinel. And they just put some ridiculous things in here. Anyway, this article says, and there's a surprise link to the name of a former South Florida tourist spot, the Miami Serpentarium. Trump issued this pardon to Robert Bowker, who in 1993 was convicted of wildlife trafficking and sentenced to 2 years of probation by a federal judge in Florida.
That was it?
Yeah. Bowker
He doesn't need a pardon.
Right. Bowker from New York pleaded guilty to his role in arranging for 22 snakes to be delivered to the Serpentarium and an apparent swap for the same number of American alligators. Bowker had hooked up with a character named Rudy Cobra King Cormack, officials said. The case stands out amid the flurry of criminal pardons and sentence commutions for a slew of, ready for this? Yeah. A slew of 143 drug offenders, fraudsters, and celebrity felons.
Delightful. But he didn't pardon Adnan Syed, so I don't give a shit.
He also didn't pardon Joe Exotic, and I think that's ridiculous because if you can pardon this snake man, why can't you pardon him?
Yeah.
I mean,
get on top of my documentary and podcast, people. Free them.
I mean, yeah, there was some murder and shit, but like,
I'm still bitter. I'm like, free Adnan.
Right. And then of course we'll just jump right in and talk about the more than 140 pardons.
So I was scrolling through this. I'm like, God damn, these are horrible people.
A former congressman who pocketed millions of dollars in bribes from defense contractors, a Republican fundraiser who paid handsome sums to illicitly lobby a presidential administration, an influential voice in conservative circles who's accused of duping donors who supported a border wall.
Oh, your money was never going to a wall, you guys.
Yes.
Sorry.
Issued in the last hours, all of these pardons benefited a list of defendants whose swindles, frauds, and Okay, my internet just went out. That was weird.
I know. I'm like, public corruption? Public corruption?
Yeah, it was public corruption. Made them unlikely candidates for executive clemency, but the recipients included people who not only abused their positions of power, but also leveraged well-placed connections to pursue pardons from a president willing to use his authority to bless his patrons and friends.
Yeah.
A former Justice Department prosecutor who in 2005 secured a guilty plea for Randy Duke Cunningham, a former California congressman who was pardoned on Wednesday despite having accepted at least $2.4 million in home payments, yacht club fees, and other bribes from defense contractors. Anyway, the Justice Department prosecutor said that it wasn't about draining the swamp. It's simply always about the swamp. The White House cited Cunningham's post-prison volunteer work, military career, and the support he received from former House Speaker Newt Gingrich as a Trump ally.
Great.
But the explanation was lacking, saying defense attorneys, who said that it appeared that Cunningham and others in a rogue gallery of recipients benefited more from their proximity to power than actual merit. On a personal level, it's hard to hold any personal animosity or venom towards an individual. But as a citizen, looking at the process and looking who has been chosen for a pardon and on what grounds, it's really disturbing. To be sure, presidents have broad discretion in use of their pardon power, and many have exercised it, albeit sparingly, on defendants to whom they have personal or political ties. George W. Bush pardoned Reagan administration officials implicated in the Iran-Contra scandal, and Bill Clinton pardoned fugitive financier Mark Rich, whose ex-wife was a substantial donor.
Yep.
That is also the case with many of the names on Trump's list that were conventional and non-conventional, conventional and non-controversial selections, including relatively anonymous drug offenders who were seen as being rehabilitated during their long stays in prison.
Oh.
Even so, Trump has a much higher percentage of his pardons to be the sort of well-connected, personally connected to him, or people who are close to him and his folks, what they say.
But I love how he didn't pardon any of the people that were involved in the Capitol siege. Right? Because it's one where it's like, we just did this for you. Can we get a pardon?
Yeah. There were also notable omissions from his clemency list.
Like his own kids and himself.
Yeah, somebody said, like, himself.
Yeah.
Despite speculation that the president might pardon himself in the face of potential legal jeopardy once he leaves office, and even though he claimed that he had the absolute power to give himself one, apparently he opted not to do so.
Oh, yeah.
He also did not pardon any of his children or his personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, who has faced an investigation in New York, though the status of that probe is unclear.
Poor Rudy. He did so much work.
Right. Joining Cunningham on his pardon list was Steve Bannon, who was his former chief strategist. He was pulled from a yacht off the Connecticut coast in August and brought to Manhattan to face charges that he duped thousands of donors who believed their money would be used to fulfill the promise to build a border wall.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, he was accused of diverting over $1 million and paying a salary to one campaign official and personal expenses to himself. His co-defendants, however, were not pardoned.
Lovely.
That's just so fucked up. You like
a little bit. A little bit. Some of the ones that you're like, this should be an obvious choice, and he's like, no.
Another recipient was Elliot Brody, who was a major Trump fundraiser and former Republican National Committee deputy finance chairman. He collected millions of dollars in back channel, but an ultimately unsuccessful lobbying scheme that was aimed at getting the Trump administration to drop an investigation into embezzlement from a Malaysian sovereign wealth fund, and to extradite a Chinese dissident wanted by the government in Beijing.
Oh my God.
William Billy Walters, who was a prominent Las Vegas professional gambler who prosecutors said was worth millions and who was convicted of insider trading. That was that case that was linked to Phil Mickelson, the golfer.
Yep.
He had his sentence commuted. So did former Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick, who has served more than 7 years of a 28-year sentence for corrupt crimes that involved bags of cash from city contractors and kickbacks hidden in the bra of his political fundraiser. Trump also pardoned Al Pirro, the ex-husband of Fox News Channel host Jeanine Pirro, in a tax evasion case.
Of course.
You
see kind of where his priorities are. If you did something fucked up with money, I'm going to make sure you're covered.
Right. And the thing is that Cunningham's case is probably the most eye-catching because it involves $2.4 million in cash trips and gifts from defense contractors in exchange for government contracts. And President Bush, this is just W. Bush, not
yeah.
He rebuked him for the outrageous conduct. However, that didn't stop Cunningham from seeking clemency from Bush before he left. But obviously, Bush was like, no, fuck this guy.
Yeah. You seem bad.
And other attorneys have stated that it's not often that the president of the United States comments on an ongoing case, and this had the level of corruption where even the highest officials in the land looked at this and said, this is disturbing. When you have something that's disturbing, I think you really need to have something that's particularly compelling to offset it. Given that there are thousands upon thousands of people who have had very compelling circumstances and apply for pardons as part of a normal process who are not granted pardons with far more compelling facts than Cunningham's case.
Now, can they do that multiple times throughout their presidency, or is it just once at the end?
I think it's just once at the end. Oh, he didn't pardon his sons, but he pardoned, what's his name?
Tiffany?
Oh. No, his name Kushner?
Jared, his son-in-law?
His son-in-law's...
Jared?
Yeah.
It's Ivanka's husband, right? Jared?
Yeah, her son-in-law's dad is who he pardoned.
Oh, okay. I'm so confused. I'm like, who?
I just don't... Yeah, his son-in-law's dad.
Okay.
So Ivanka's father-in-law is pardoned.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
I don't know.
Wow.
This is wild.
What a trip. Little things you learn. Well, and that's the thing with this whole year of being shut down and at home with all of our stuff. I think a lot of us are learning a lot of things that it was like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like when people were like, oh, the president-elect is giving a speech. That's abnormal. And I'm like, no, that's actually happened all the time. You know, that's regular. But you guys have never paid attention before. You know, or like all the shit, even like Garth Brooks singing at the inauguration. It's like, he's done that with a lot of people. And I was like, didn't know that. Good to know.
There was something else that Joey and I learned today. Oh, I was sitting here and I was like, hey, where does the vice president live?
Where does the vice president live?
Because I was like, the vice president can't live in the White House. That's got to be fucking weird. Like, you're all just a bunch of roommates.
I don't know. It's a big house.
No, the vice president actually has a separate naval administration home. It used to be like the naval admiral's home. But it's on the corner of Michigan and something. I can't remember the exact address. But like, there's pictures online of the home. Area. Yeah, there's pictures online of the home, and so you can see it and stuff. Because I read an article that was like, oh, you know, Kamala Harris says she's not going to move into the vice president's house anytime soon because they're doing like construction on it. I was like, hold up, wait. Where does the vice president live? Because I was in my brain. Yeah, in my brain, I was like, they just live in the White House. Like it's just like one big party. Like everybody just lives together. But no, apparently they don't. Apparently Joe Biden lived in that house for the full 8 years, and I didn't fucking know that.
Wow. No, I didn't know that either. Well, and that's the thing, like, because I used to clean for a military general, and the house that they inherited, I got called because I was in the packet that came with the house, where the packet describes like the type of rugs that are downstairs and like the artwork that's on the wall, who it was donated by. And then there's my information in there because Trevor drove for the previous commanders, you know, whatever. And he got my information and put it in the packet with the house. So I, quote, came with the house. And when I got there, they basically told me, here's the thing. We all live upstairs. Like, that's where our personal, like, office, our treadmill, all of our shit. Downstairs, it's like a functioning museum where they host just events and, like, have all these beautiful doors. So that's what I was in charge of cleaning, was the downstairs where guests came in. So in my mind, the White House was the same shit.
Right.
So downstairs where the offices are and everything works. But then it's enormous. So in my mind, I was like,
so, like,
they
there's
live
a
here,
wing,
they live here.
Yeah, you know, like there's a wing that the vice president has their own separate house. And I was like, that is fucking wild. Like, that is not something you ever learn in school. Why was that not taught to people? Like,
no, I know. I didn't know that.
We also
not even a little bit.
We also had a really fun discussion today about the naturalization process and like the questions they ask on the test. And I told Joey, I was like, they ask things that like people don't know, like normal people don't know. Like, I was like, one of the questions is like, who's the 5th president of the United States? And I was like, who is the 5th president? Is that
Andrew Jackson?
No.
I have no idea.
It was
I'm
Monroe.
not good at this.
I thought it was Madison. I was like, who said Madison? But it was Monroe.
Nice.
Madison was the 4th. And I was like,
who knows? I say Bo knows all the presidents in order, apparently. I'm pretty sure it was him.
Joey was like, that is still pretty cool that like you were able to name the 4th president of the United States off the top of your head. And I was like,
yeah, it's somewhere in there.
I got random knowledge in this noggin.
Here's me. If you told me I had to learn it, I friggin' would. And it would be in there forever. But I haven't had to, so I don't know it.
I was like, they asked these people to like recite the Star Spangled Banner. I looked at Joey, I was like, recite the Star Spangled Banner. And he was like, I'm good up until like the end. And I was like, I only know it because of choir. Like, I had to know it.
Yeah, I only know it's the preamble to the Constitution because it's a Schoolhouse Rock song.
I had to learn that my senior year of high school, and it was like an extra credit thing. Like, you got to like drop your lowest test score.
Yeah. Well, it was our junior history AP. We had to learn it for something, and people would go up there and recite it. And I got up there and I went, "We the people," and he goes, "Are you going to sing this?" "Yep." "In order to form a more perfect union." I'm like, I know it in song version.
Yeah. There's just certain things you just know, you know. 5th president of the United States, not one of them. Why are we doing this to people?
It's mean.
What year did the Civil War end? You guys know that off the top of your head?
1890.
60.
Oh, God.
60.
I don't know. 1862? No idea.
5. Yeah, I think it was 5. 65 or 64. One of those.
In 1787, I'm told our founding fathers play there's another song about that.
1787?
Yeah, that's when they wrote the preamble.
Oh, I was like, what?
Like,
I was like, I hope you're not talking about the Constitution.
This Constitution for the... No, we can't get into all that. We're going to get demonetized because I'm singing Schoolhouse Rock.
I was going to say, anything you need to know about the starting of the founding of America, you just watch Hamilton. 1776. And then you know, and then you're like, oh, okay, I got it.
It's in there. I understand now. I know all the names involved.
Yes. Lafayette. Yes, Lafayette.
It's so good. It's so good. Oh my God. Okay. Is that all your news? Thank you so much. Now, last thing before we get into this, can you tell people where they can find us?
On your screens right now, you can find us at any of our social media. They are all right there. They're below me over here. Just right here. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube. Facebook and YouTube are where we go live. So make sure that you click the bell when you subscribe to us on YouTube so you'll get updates and notifications when we go live. You'll also get notifications if there are any other fun little videos that post there. They're coming. They're coming. They're working in the brain. They just need to be filmed.
Yeah.
We're
good at this. We're coming up with ideas.
I promise you guys, we just have to film them. You can follow us on Twitch, of course. Right now, we are not live on Twitch. We do have some older episodes that were live on Twitch. If you're on Twitch and you want to watch those older episodes, you can go ahead and head over there. You can follow us on Discord, where you'll get all of our evidence and like case notes and pictures from different cases that we've covered. On Instagram, sorry, there's a noise. On Instagram, where you post a bunch of updates and pictures, behind the scenes photos, stuff like that. Ange posted some photos of us earlier, so you'll get to see all those fun behind the scenes photos. And of course on Twitter, where we just post random fun stuff. That's what goes on Twitter. Fun stuff. News stories, whatever's there. And then of course you can subscribe to us on any of your podcatchers, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. That's where all of our seasons will be going up, so you can go through and listen to all of the seasons up there. What are we through? Season 4 on there? Season 4 is up, I think.
We're about to be up?
Yeah, season 4 will be up soon.
Yes.
But yeah, you can listen to all our previous episodes there as well.
Yeah. If you want to give us little tips, go over to Patreon.
Yes.
Give us some tips.
Some tips.
Give us your money.
That's our wine money. That's our wine money. That's our microphone money.
Yes, please. We would love it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Very soon, you guys will get nice linked stuff.
Yeah, we do. Well, I sent you a picture. This is artwork by Gerald Slotta. Sorry, buddy, I can't say your last name. The story I'm reading you is from thecut.com, and it's by Reeves Weedman. And it's just so beautifully written. I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to read this one, skip through it as we go. But this was one, y'all, I was like, I didn't even know what to talk about tonight. And Flip goes, how about this or this? Weird. And goes, never mind, do this.
Yeah, this story is fucking weird. I love this story.
This is a trip. And I've heard it. One of my other podcasts kind of covered it, but it was like a few years ago. And then this story that I'm reading is from 2018. So I was like, it's old, but it's one. If y'all haven't heard this, get ready, buckle the hell up, because it's fun.
It's fun and it's creepy and it's weird.
And I'm glad we didn't cover this right before I bought my house. So thank you. Because yeah, we keep in contact with our previous homeowners, and like we just sent them a text the other day going, can y'all change your address on your mail? Because we keep having to send it back. If y'all could just do a change address, that would be great. Anyway, The Watcher. A family bought their dream house, but according to the creepy letters they started to get, they weren't the only ones interested in it. So this house is at 657 Boulevard in Westfield, New Jersey. And you're going to hear that address a lot. Because you know how like some houses, it's like the Captain's Mast or Dreams, like they name houses. This one, I swear The Watcher it's known as 657 Boulevard. Like it's a professional name on that house.
Mm-hmm. It's just stamped 657.
This is it. So one night in June 2014, go back in time, picture it. It's before I even lived in Florida.
2014. Solid.
Ooh.
Picturing it.
Okay. This is where we're at. Derek Broadus. We're going to say that. Broadus. Broadus. Had just finished an evening of painting at his new home in Westfield, New Jersey, when he was outside checking the mail. Derek and his wife, Maria, had closed on the 6-bedroom house at 657 Boulevard 3 days earlier. God bless him. And they were doing some renovations before they moved in, so there wasn't much mail except for like the little tidbits and shit you get, like welcome and like leftover junk mail. But there was also a card-shaped envelope, and it was addressed in thick, clunky handwriting to, quote, the new owner. And there was a typed note inside that began warmly. Dear new neighbor at 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood. For the Broaduses, buying this house had fulfilled a dream. Maria was raised in Westfield, and the house was just a few blocks over from her childhood home. And then Derek grew up in working class in Maine, and then he moved his way up the ladder at an insurance company in Manhattan to become a senior vice president with a salary large enough to afford this $1.3 million house. So they had bought the house just after Derek celebrated his 40th birthday, and they had 3 kids that were already debating which of the house's fireplaces Santa Claus would use, because it has more than one fireplace. It's a big house. So Derek keeps reading this letter, and it takes a weird turn. So it then goes, how did you end up here? Did 657 Boulevard call to you with its force within? Excuse me? So it keeps going. 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now. And as it approaches its 110th birthday, this is an old house, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming.
Dog, like the second somebody starts putting this shit in a letter, I'm like, I think we should probably just get the fuck out of here.
Seems like someone else really wanted this house.
I think maybe we should just get the fuck out. Like,
so my grandfather watched the house in the 1920s. My father watched in the 1960s. It is now my time. Do you know the history of the house? Do you know what lies within the walls of 657 Boulevard? Why are you here? I will find out. And they're like, we just bought a house.
I'm just here to live, dog. Like,
we didn't. I was thinking about getting a new entry mat and maybe painting the outside.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking maybe like painting it like a nice like hand shade. But now I'll just get the fuck out. You can have it.
Right. Well, this creepy ass stalker starts like he's clearly been doing reconnaissance before they like moved in. And so his letter starts identifying the Broaddus's Honda minivan, as well as the workers that were renovating the home. And he says, quote, I see that you already have flooded 657 Boulevard with contractors so that you can destroy the house as it was supposed to be. And then he wrote, tisk, tisk, tisk. Bad move. You don't want to make 657 Boulevard unhappy. Earlier in the week, Derek and Maria had gone to the house and they were talking with their neighbors, and their children, who were ages 5, 8, and 10, were like running around the backyard with several other kids from the neighborhood. And the letter writer seemed to have noticed. He said, quote, you have children. I have seen them. So far, I think there are 3 that I have counted. More on the way. And then this gets real gross. This is where I would be like, yeah, I'm out. Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Better for me. Was your old house too small for the growing family? Or was it greed to bring me your children? Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me. Nope. Nope.
I just love it. I love it. I love it. I love everything about these letters because it is just so theatrical. I know
it kind of reminds me of the axe murder guy that wrote the whole thing about
like,
I am the demon.
Listen, I know you guys are gonna think this is fucking wild, but I just like it because of the theatrics. Like, it's just, do you feel the need to fill the home with the young blood that I have requested? What?
What? No,
like you just picture some evil villain like ferociously writing with like a calligraphy ink pen, and they're just like
twirl that mustache.
He's got his fucking monocle on,
looking out of his telescope. See three children.
Yes, like,
oh my god,
dog, what?
You nightmare. So this envelope, of course, had no return address on it. No. And he says, who am I? There are hundreds and hundreds of cars that drive by 657 Boulevard each day. Maybe I am in one. Look at all the windows you can see from 657 Boulevard. Maybe I am in one. Look out any of the many windows in 657 Boulevard at all the people who stroll by each day. Maybe I am one. And then it ends with, welcome, my friends, welcome. Let the party begin. Signed, The Watcher.
Somebody's just like mad as hell. Like their like great grandma owned this home and they like lost. Like like these people were like $1.6 million cash right now. And they were like, damn, I don't have $1.6 million. How do I scare these people out of here and then drop the property value?
Yeah. How do I create a haunting?
Yeah. How do I
do it from the outside?
Yes. How do I make the property value plummet on this place?
Oh God. Ugh. What a night. So it was after 10 p.m. and Derek Broaddus was alone. He raced around the house, turning off all the lights so that nobody could see inside. And then he called the Westfield Police Department. Thank God. An officer came to the house, read the letter, and said, quote, "What the fuck is this?" He asked Derek if he had any enemies and recommended moving a piece of construction equipment from the back porch in case the watcher tried to toss it through a window. Good. Now you're making it worse.
Listen, okay.
I hadn't thought of that.
Here's my thing right now. Like,
the fuck is
what
this?
a useless ass. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, you tell me, sir. You want to like dust it for fingerprints or something? Like,
I know, right? Can't you test the spit on that envelope and figure out who this is from?
What are you doing, dog? Like,
it's a threat. Clearly, he's naming my kids. So Derek, of course, rushes back to his wife and kids, who were living at their old home elsewhere in Westfield. That night, Derek and Maria wrote an email to John and Andrea Woods, the couple who sold them 657 Boulevard, to ask if they had any idea who the watcher might be or why he or she had written, quote, "I asked the Woods to bring me young blood, and it looks like they listened." Oh. So, hey, previous homeowners, we got this weird letter. It says that you were part of this plan. Did you?
Thanks, I hate it.
No, right?
Thanks, I hate it.
And they're like, "We did. We picked you." Andrea Woods replied the next morning. And she said, a few days before moving out, the Woodses had also received a letter from the watcher. The note had been odd, she said, and made similar mentions of the watcher's family observing the house over time. But Andrea said that she and her husband had never received anything like it in the 23 years that they were in the house and had thrown the letter away without much thought.
Okay, so hold up.
How do you ignore that letter?
You receive a letter from some crazy person 3 days before you move out, and you're like,
Just seems like trash.
Garbage.
No. So that day, the Woodses went with Maria to the police station where Detective Leonard Lugo told her not to tell anyone about the letters, including her new neighbors, most of whom she had never met, and all of whom were now suspects.
The detective said, "What the fuck is this?" Like,
what the fuck is this? The worst part. What the fuck is this?
Don't tell a single person about this because it's fucking weird and you're gonna scare them. Like,
no, I just love that it's. And he said, "Quote, what the fuck is this?" Honey,
he wasn't really trying to like. They weren't suspects. He was just like, "Yo, please do not scare any of the other neighbors. We do not need the property value on the entire street to plummet." Like, that's what he really said.
Because meanwhile, God forbid, every single one of your neighbors has a watcher watching their house, and he's told don't mention this to anybody. So the Broadduses spent the coming weeks on high alert, and Derek canceled a work trip, and whenever Maria took the kids to their new house, she would yell their names if they wandered into a corner of the yard, bless them. When Derek gave a tour of the renovations to a couple on the block, he froze when his wife said, quote, "It'll be nice to have some young blood in the neighborhood." Ew. The Broaddus' general contractor arrived one morning to find a heavy sign that he'd hammered in the front yard had been ripped out overnight.
I have multiple questions before you continue.
Yeah.
One, you know somebody is watching your house. Why are you screaming your children's names?
No, I wouldn't be. You all have nicknames now.
You all have nicknames, or like, if you don't have nicknames, you just don't play outside, dog. Like,
yeah. I don't want them to know your name. They know our last name already.
2, Youngblood.
Youngblood.
Yeah.
The wife that he was given the tour to said, "It'll be nice to have some young blood in the neighborhood.
Creepy.
Youngins, some kiddos."
Creepy.
Ew.
Sorry.
I know. That's great interjections. Thank you. 2 weeks after the letter arrived, Maria stopped by the house to look at some paint samples and check the mail. She recognized the thin black lettering on a card-shaped envelope and called the police. Quote, "Welcome again to your new home at 657 Boulevard. The workers have been busy and I have been watching you unload carfuls of your personal belongings. The dumpster is a nice touch. Have they found what is in the walls yet? In time, they will." You like tear out all the walls?
The walls are just like full of bodies. There's just bodies everywhere.
He's hitting cameras inside the house. Have they found him yet? I'm watching. This time, the watcher had addressed Derek and Maria directly, misspelling their names as Mr. and Mrs. Broaddus. Had the watcher been close enough to hear one of the Broaddus's contractors addressing them? And he put Braddus instead of Broaddus. The watcher boasted of having learned a lot of the family in the preceding weeks, especially about their children. The letter identified the Broaddus's 3 kids by birth order and by their nicknames. The ones Maria had been yelling. Quote, "I am pleased to know your names now, and the name of the young blood you have brought to me. You certainly say their names often." The letter asked about one of the children in particular, whom the writer had seen using an easel inside of the enclosed porch, and said, "Is she the artist in the family?" I can't. It's so gross.
So Brittany says, "I feel like at least someone in our friend group has said young blood to me." Okay, so let me explain to you. Like, young blood in the, So, like, young blood in the sense of, like, well, colloquialisms or, like, slang. Like, "Oh, what's up, young blood?" Like, you know, like, in ethnic communities, when you say "what's up, young blood," that's like, "What up, little dude?" Like, you know. Yeah, like, you know, fresh, like young new blood, like you're like young, but like you're new, you know. So that's like one way to phrase it. But this person clearly meant it in the creepy way, like, "Hey, you brought some young blood into the neighborhood."
It's fresh. It's for my cauldron.
It's fresh blood. And the fact that that woman said it is just extra creepy. Like, "Oh, it'd be nice to get some young blood in the neighborhood." Who the fuck says that?
No, that's me thinking of, what's that movie? Hot Fuzz, where it's British and like all the neighbors are in on the weird culty thing, and you find out later, like, "Oh, great, the mayor's in on it too," and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, is your whole street the Watcher? Like,
it gets to a point where it does seem like that.
Yeah. So the letter continued. 657 Boulevard is anxious for you to move in. It has been years and years since the young blood ruled the hallways of the house. Have you found all of its secrets it holds yet? Will the young blood play in the basement? Or are they too afraid to go down there alone? I would be very afraid if I were them. It is far away from the rest of the house. If you were upstairs, you would never hear them scream. Will they sleep in the attic? Or will you all sleep on the second floor? Who has the bedrooms facing the street? I'll know as soon as you move in. It will help me know who is in which bedroom. Then I can plan better. All of the windows and doors in 657 Boulevard allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house. Who am I? I am the Watcher, and I have been in control of 657 Boulevard for the better part of 2 decades now. The Woods family turned it over to you. It was their time to move on and kindly sold it when I asked them to. I passed by it many times a day. 657 Boulevard is my job, my life, my obsession. And now you are too, Braddus family. Welcome to the product of your greed. Greed is what brought the past 3 families to 657 Boulevard, and now it has brought you to me. Have a happy moving in day. You know I'll be watching.
There's some like like schizophrenic homeless person that's like living in the basement, like in the walls, like in the crawl spaces in the attic. Like, there's like a hole cut out, and they're just like peeping through.
Oh, they're like, don't take down any of the portraits. That's where I look with my eyes.
Some just like Scooby-Doo shit going on in his house.
So many of the Westfield residents compared their town to Mayberry, the idyllic setting for the Andy Griffith Show. It's the kind of place where new neighbors might greet you with a welcoming note. Westfield is 45 minutes from New York and a bit too slow for singles, meaning the town's 30,000 residents are largely well-to-do families. And this year, Bloomberg ranked, I guess in 2018, Bloomberg ranked Westfield the 99th richest city in America, but only the 18th wealthiest in New Jersey. And in 2014, yeah.
So this place is primarily made up of wealthy families.
Yes.
Wouldn't there already be children in the neighborhood?
You would think. It sounds like the previous ones didn't have any kids, though.
Yeah, and no, but they were like an elderly couple. I'm pretty sure they were an elderly couple who had moved somewhere else.
And that's the thing. If they've been there a long time, their kids are growing and out. So now we have fresh young blood moving in to grow up. I don't... Well, in 2014, when the Watcher struck, the website Neighborhood Scout named it the country's 30th safest town. Oh, the most pressing local issue of late, according to residents, have been the temporary closure of Trader Joe's after a roof collapse and the rampant scourge of unconstitutional policing.
Trader
Joe's? Aggressive parking enforcement.
Aggressive parking enforcement.
Westfield is 86% white.
They did tell them that you cannot park on the left side of the street on Wednesdays.
Yep. That's street sweeping.
You got a boot? You got a boot. That's it.
You're done. You can't mess with this. Trader Joe's will be up and running soon.
Yes,
calm down.
I promise you guys. Renovated. 2-story Trader Joe's. Don't know what's going on in the second story, but maybe that's where they keep all the microbiotic honey.
There's that. There's a Pottery Barn upstairs. Jesus.
It's a Pier 1.
Come on up here. This little side table is $80 million. So one activity that all the locals recognized as treacherous is trying to buy a house. So, quote, "There's a lot of money and a lot of ego," said one resident who requested to be anonymous. I've seen bidding wars where friends lost by $300,000. So the Broaddus' house was on the boulevard, a wide, tree-lined street with some of the most desirable homes in the town. As the Watcher had noted, quote, "The boulevard used to be the street to live on. You made it if you lived on the boulevard." It was built in 1905. And 657 Boulevard was perhaps the grandest home on the block. And when the Woodses put it on the market, they had received multiple offers above their asking price. So that led the Broadduses to initially suspect that the Watcher might be someone that was upset about losing the house to them, which, I mean, same. That's what I would think with this. But the Woodses said that one interested buyer had backed out after a bad medical diagnosis, and then another one had already found a different home. So probably not. And then in an email to the Broadduses, Andrea Woods proposed another theory. This is her theory. Would the mention of the contractor trucks and your children suggest that it was someone in the neighborhood already? Yeah. You think, Andrea? You think? So the letter did indicate proximity, clearly. And they had been processed in Kearney, the U.S. Postal Service's distribution center in the northern New Jersey. The first was postmarked June 4th, before it was the sale was public. And then the Woodses had never put up a for sign sale, and only a day after the contractors arrived.
For sign sale.
So
I'm sorry.
We didn't put up a for sign sale. That's tacky. It was a private sale.
It's a for sale sign.
Nope.
It's a for sign sale?
Nope.
It's a first.
So a for sale sign, yeah.
I thought, okay, so here's the thing. You said it, and I was like, yeah. And then I was like, wait, what? Did my brain just glaze over?
Did I hear it? Did I say it?
My brain
for sale
definitely sign. Just listen. It's been a long week, you guys.
Look,
And sometimes
you're
you
fine.
can say things that are gibberish to me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Sounds right. Hold. Yeah, so basically what they're saying is there was never a sign out. So it has to be somebody that lived nearby that knew the Woodses had it for sale and knew when these people would be showing up in order to put the letter there so the Woodses didn't get it, but the new people did.
Yeah.
When Derek and Maria, okay, so there was, hold on, the renovations were mostly interior, and then people who live nearby say that they didn't notice unusual commotion, even from the jackhammering in the basement. Why are we jackhammering the basement? When Derek and Maria walked Detective Lugo around the house, they showed him that the easel on the porch was hidden from the street by vegetation, making it difficult to see unless somebody was behind the house or right next door. It's your neighbors, y'all.
I hate it.
A few days after the first letter, Maria and Derek went to a barbecue across the street, welcoming them and another new homeowner to the block. I wouldn't be near anybody.
Yeah, I would be suspicious. Well, friends close, enemies closer, so.
True. And you are going to have to live there.
Walking around like a super spy. You remember when they used to sell spy kits when you were a kid and you'd have those magnifying earphones that you'd put in? Me walking around, I'm like, no, it's just my new phone headset. You drop it on people.
What is that voice recorder that he uses in Home Alone? That's like a big old clunky thing. And I'm like, that you walk around with that. What? Can you say that again? Mm-hmm. How long have you lived in the neighborhood?
Got your super magnifying earphones on, like the ones they used to sell. I don't know if you guys remember. Our audience is probably old enough to remember the infomercials for the old people, and they'd have the earphones that would amplify things so you could watch TV. They used to give them to people in church too, so that they could hear, and they'd be extra loud, giving feedback next to you.
Oh God, that's so sad. Hello. Hello.
Yes, that's what I imagine the Broaddus's are doing at this point.
Oh my God. Hello. We brought the coleslaw. Okay, so they're at the barbecue. The Broadduses hadn't told anyone about the Watcher, as the police had instructed, but they found themselves scanning the party for clues while keeping tabs on their own kids, who ran guilelessly through the crowd.
You got you bought your spy kit from Scholastic Books. Got binoculars.
Told anybody about this shit.
Your magnifying eyeglasses.
Yeah, they're like, hello, how long have you lived in the neighborhood? 80 years. Great. How often do you take walks? Can I ask you about your casual strolls with your dog?
Can I ask you about your walking route? Specifically, what time would you say you walk around the neighborhood, and for how long? Well, I calculated it. I calculated it because I took a walk the other day, and it takes exactly 20 minutes to walk around the entire block.
Oh God. That's so bad.
And I left my children outside for 15 minutes precisely.
Of course.
This is the kind of
with name tags
this is the kind of shit that they're doing at this point. Scan a party for clues. Get the fuck out of here.
They're scanning the party for clues, and then their kids are running around all over the place. And Maria goes, we kept screaming at them to stay close. People must have thought we were crazy. Yeah. Hi, everybody. We're here with this Daniel, stay close. You just start screaming at your kids.
And now I'm still questioning. Are there other children in this neighborhood?
Right, because it doesn't. Yes, because originally when the kids were there, they were with the other kids in the backyard.
Right. So, what?
I don't know.
If my kid meets somebody and that kid goes home and is like, "Hey, mommy, I played at this person's house and met so and so and so and so and so and so, and we painted a picture on the easel." Well, there's your fucking suspect right there.
Yeah. That's me. It could literally be anybody. Or the babysitter of the kids next door. Hey, kids, come over here. Nice painting. Let's go back inside.
I don't like that.
At one point, Derek was chatting with John Schmidt, who lived 2 doors down, when Schmidt told him about the Langfords, who lived between them. Peggy Langford was in her 90s, and several of her adult children, all in their 60s, lived with her. That's not weird at all. The family was a bit odd, Schmidt said, but, harmless. And he described one of the younger Langfords, Michael, who didn't work and had a beard like Ernest Hemingway, as kind of a Boo Radley character.
Had a beard like Ernest Hemingway. That's such a specific thing to say. His beard, it kind of looks like Ernest Hemingway's beard, you know what I mean?
He's kind of a Boo Radley type. Excuse me. The neighbor next door is kind of a Boo Radley type? Fuck. Great.
Top suspect circles Michael Langford's name.
So Derek thought that this case was solved. Just like you. The Langford's house was right next to the easel on the porch. The family that had lived there since the 1960s, when the Watcher's father, the letter says, had begun observing 657 Boulevard. Richard Langford, the family patriarch, had died 12 years earlier, and the current Watcher claimed to have been out on the job for the better part of 2 decades. So, when the Broadduses told Lugo about the family, he said he already knew. And a week after the first letter arrived, he brought Michael Langford to police headquarters for an interview. Michael denied knowing anything about the letters, but the Broadduses said that Lugo told them that, quote, the narrative of what he said matched things mentioned in the letters. Quote, this isn't CSI Westfield, Lugo told the Broadduses. When the wife is dead, it's the husband. Jesus Christ.
But they don't have any crime in this town. Remember that.
No, not 80% white. But there wasn't much hard evidence. And after a few weeks, the police chief told the Broadduses that short of an admission of guilt, there wasn't much that the department could do. So this is someone who has threatened my kids, and the police are saying probably nothing's going to happen. Probably isn't good enough for me, said Derek. And he told the cops that if they didn't take care of the situation, they would have a different kind of case on their hands. Quote, the person attacked my family, and where I'm from, if you do that, you get your ass beat. I'm so glad this happened in 2014.
Where is he from?
So
Maryland or something? Like,
where is he?
Him? Maine?
Yeah. I don't remember. I'm not going to scroll up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm like, I'll lose my
spot. You guys
spot.
beat people's asses in Maryland? Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
but then
probably.
if it's Maine, really?
Yeah, with what, a lobster? So frustrated, the Broadduses began their own investigation. Derek became especially obsessed. He set up webcams in 657 Boulevard and spent nights crouched in the dark, watching to see if anybody was watching the house at close range.
He's like,
quote, Maria thought I was crazy.
Sitting on the front porch with a rifle and some binoculars, like night vision goggles.
Oh my God. Yep. His wife thought he was crazy. And then he told me recently at a coffee shop in Manhattan where he covered a table with documents related to the case, including copies of the letters, which he and his wife had shared with only a few friends and family members. So bless this guy. He is that mean with the whole board with all of the yarn going around, talking to the guy from the cut going, let me paint you a picture. He showed me a map displaying when each of 657's neighbors had moved in. The Langfords were the only ones there since the 60s, which overlays marking possible sight lines for the easel and a circle for approximate range of earshot to estimate who might have heard Maria yelling their kids' names. Only a few homes fit both criteria. He's doing his best.
Like I said, dude's like walking around the block trying to calculate the exact time it takes. He calculated the exact number of steps it takes.
Oh, God.
He calculates the distance you can see from his window to, like, the neighbor's window.
I'll say, also, I don't know if y'all can hear it, but little Tump is asleep over here, and she's got her little face twitching and everything, but she's also going, Arr.
Oh.
Arr. So if y'all hear any background noise, it's the Tump. So the Broadduses also turned to several experts because, fuck the cops if they're not helping. Let's go get a private investigator. And we've installed cameras and we're doing our best. They employed a private investigator who staked out the neighborhood and ran background checks on the Langfords, but they didn't find anything noteworthy. Who said what?
Marissa. Holy shit, that guy straight pro-sussed his neighbor out. Cops don't help. Yep. Find the proof yourself.
Yep. Derek reached out to a former FBI agent who served as the inspiration for Clarice Starling in The Silence of the Lambs. They were on a high school board of trustees together. And they also hired Robert Lenehan, another former FBI agent, to conduct a threat assessment.
Talk about
Lenehan,
connections.
he didn't just get a casual investigator. He's like, let's go ahead and get Clarice. Let's get this guy. So Lenehan recognized several old-fashioned ticks in the letter that he pointed to an older writer. So the envelope was addressed to M-M Baratus. The salutation included the day's weather, warm and humid, sunny and cool for a summer day, and then the sentences had double spaces between them because it's all typed. So the letters had a certain literary panache, which suggested a voracious reader, and a surprising lack of profanity given the level of anger, which Lenehan thought meant like a less macho writer. Maybe, he wondered, the Watcher had seen The Watcher, starring Keanu Reeves, as a serial killer who stalks the detective trying to catch him, and chose that name. Oh, Keanu. So Lenehan didn't think that the Watcher was likely to act on any of the threats, but the letters had enough typos and errors. Yeah, as I'm reading these, you guys, I'm trying to work through because it's all the typos are in there. The Watcher was likely to act on these threats, but the letters had enough typos and errors to imply a certain erraticism. So the first letter was dated Tuesday, June 4th, but that day was a Wednesday, not a Tuesday. And then there was also a seething anger directed at the wealthy in particular. The Watcher was upset by new money moving into town. Quote, "Are you one of those Hoboken transplants who are ruining Westfield?" And by the Broaddus's relatively modest renovations, they said, quote, "The house is crying from all of the pain it's going through. You have changed it and made it so fancy. You are stealing its history. It cries for the past and what used to be in the time when I roamed its halls. The 1960s were a good time." Oh, yeah, he said when I roamed its halls. "The 1960s were a good time for 657 Boulevard when I ran from room to room, imagining the life with the rich occupants there. The house was full of life and young blood. Then it got old, and so did my father, but he kept watching until the day he died, and now I watch and I wait for the day when the young blood will be mine again."
Does Michael Langford have some kind of like mental health disorder? I'm just wondering. Like
I didn't remember. Maybe we'll find out
they
in a
didn't.
second.
They didn't say, but I'm just wondering, like a multiple personality disorder, or I'm sorry, borderline personality disorder, or something like that. You know.
Well, and I'm wondering if he's an adult and when he was little, if he was friends with the people next door, then he was running through those halls as a friend, right?
Yeah, as a friend.
So logically, couldn't one of the kids who's friends with the kids now be the one reporting back all the stuff that's going on in the house as they run through the halls? Like you said, maybe a kid's reporting back.
Or he's just really creepy and he's just watching them.
Oh God,
because he's crazy.
Lenehan recommended looking into former housekeepers or their descendants. Perhaps the Watcher was jealous that the Broadduses had brought home that the writer bought a home that the writer couldn't afford. Because that's me. I was like, if I was a living maid and I had kids, then they roam those halls too.
But I don't think that.
I felt like maybe you should have been kept on with the family. I don't know. I feel some ownership of the houses I claim. They're mine.
I don't think that I would be that upset. Like,
no.
To like not be able to make a connection between the fact that this is a job and that people die or people move on. Like, that's kind of.
Yeah, it's a little. You have to be a little off.
Yeah.
A little off. But the focus remained on the Langfords. So in cooperation with Westfield Police, the Broadduses sent a letter to the Langfords announcing plans to tear down the house, hoping to prompt a response. Nothing happened. So Detective Lugo brought Michael Langford in for a second interview, but got nowhere. And then his sister Abby accused the police of harassing their family. Eventually, the Broadduses hired Lee Levitt, a lawyer who met with several members of the Langford family as well as their attorney to show them the letters, along with photos explaining how their home was one of the few vantage points from which the easel could be seen. The meeting grew tense, Levitt told me, and the Langfords insisted Michael was innocent. One night, Derek had a dream in which he confronted Peggy, the eldest Langford, and demanded that she build an 8-foot fence between the properties. Meanwhile, if the Langfords are completely innocent, they're like, fucking bonko shit's going on next door. They were like writing letters to themselves. These people seem nuts.
Right. Everybody else, like the Broadduses have at this point made themselves look like loonies. Like,
yeah.
Why is this guy staying up all night watching the windows?
Oh no. Yes, they've made themselves look like lunatics. Oh no. Okay. Maria was having other kinds of dreams. So one night she woke up to an especially vivid one about a man who lived nearby. Quote, he was wearing these boots and carrying a pitchfork and calling to the kids, and I couldn't get to them in time. She thought almost anyone could be the watcher, which made daily life feel like navigating a labyrinth of threats. She probed the faces of shoppers at Trader Joe's to see if they looked strangely at her kids.
Oh, I thought Trader Joe's was closed.
It just had a hole in the roof. And then she spent hours Googling anyone who seemed suspicious. Bless them. There were reasons to consider other suspects, of course. For one thing, the police spoke to Michael before the second letter was sent, which would make sending 2 more especially reckless. Like, they're onto you, bud.
Yeah.
You're really that bold. And then the Broadduses said that Lugo told them they wouldn't receive any more letters after he spoke to Michael, but they did. And then there was the rest of the neighborhood to consider. The private investigator found 2 child sex offenders within a few blocks. Sex offenders, new blood, young blood. Ugh. And then Bill Woodward, the Broadduses' house painter, also noticed something strange. Bless him, the house painter. The couple behind 657 Boulevard kept a pair of lawn chairs strangely close to the Broadduses' property. One day, I was looking out the window and I saw this older guy sitting in one of the chairs. He wasn't facing his house. He was facing the Broadduses.
Yeah, and that I was going to say, like, the easel's in the backyard. The kids are playing in the backyard and, like, mom is, like, yelling their names. So, like, of course, they're, like, right there. They're watching the house.
Yeah.
Just to watch
and there's
the
windows.
House. Yeah.
All on the back side. You can see all the same shit from the back of the house that you could from the front.
Right.
Ew. But by the end of 2014, the investigation had stalled. The watcher had left no digital trail, no fingerprints, and no way to place someone at the scene of a crime that could have been hatched from pretty much any mailbox in northern New Jersey. The letters could be read closely for possible clues or dismissed as nonsensical ramblings of a sociopath. Quote, it was like trying to find a needle in a haystack, said Scott Krause, who helped investigate the case for Union County's prosecutor's office. And then in December, the Westfield police told the Broadduses they had run out of options. So Derek showed the letters to his priest, who agreed to bless the house. We're doing our best.
Guys.
So,
like, what's wrong with you?
So let me see. I was gonna say, how long is this?
This is not the Amityville house. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. The renovations kept going, including a new alarm system, which was finished in a few months. So, like, he's trying cameras, alarm system, all the stuff. But the idea of moving into the house filled the entire family with anxiety. Like, could their kids play outside? Would everything be okay? Blah, blah, blah. Derek priced out trained German shepherds and posted a job on a website for military veterans. Quote, all you have to do is work out in the backyard every day. At the end of the day, when it came down to what are you willing to risk? And like, they're ready to hire Marines to like protect their property. So
sending Trevor out to the backyard. You go.
Can you imagine? go protect our house. Good luck. Derek had been responding to occasional alarms at the house, sometimes in the middle of the night, bringing a knife with him just in case. Quote, they were so joyous about their new home, and then within days they were petrified, said Bill Woodward, the painter. And he said, I am a stranger, and Maria was crying and shaking in my arms. That's how scared she was. It didn't help that the watcher seemed to be getting more and more unhinged.
That's sad, though.
I know. Can you imagine? So we move into our house, and I turn to our painter and start crying on him because of threats from some weirdo.
That's really
so sad. Okay, so this is from a letter. 657 Boulevard is turning on me. It is coming after me. I don't understand why. What spell did you cast on it? It used to be my friend, and now it is my enemy. I am in charge of 657 Boulevard. It is not in charge of me. I will fend off its bad things and wait for it to become good again. It will not punish me. I will rise again. I will be patient and wait for this to pass and for you to bring the young blood back to me. 657 Boulevard needs young blood. It needs you. Come back. Let the young blood play again like I once did. Let the young blood sleep in 657 Boulevard. Stop changing it and let it alone.
Anyway, Brittany says you are the painter, Ange.
That's true.
Dude's nuts. Like,
I'm just crying on my own shoulder. I can't believe this. I know. So the Broadduses had sold their old home at this point finally. So they moved in with Maria's parents while continuing to pay mortgage and property taxes on the new house because they're doing renovations. And Derek says, I still had to do things like shovel the driveway. Just picture that little indignity. I'd go in at 5 a.m. and then come back and do it again at my in-laws. And they told a handful of friends about the letters. Obviously, you have to tell somebody, which left others to ask why they weren't moving in. And they would just say, legal issues. And people would wonder if they were getting divorced. So they started fighting constantly and then started taking medication to go to sleep. And Derek said, I was a depressed wreck. Maria decided to see a therapist after a routine doctor's visit that began with the question, how are you? It caused her to burst into tears, and the therapist said she was suffering post-traumatic stress that wouldn't go away until they got rid of the house. So 6 months after the letters arrived, the Broadduses decided to sell the property, because fuck this. They initially listed it for more than they paid to reflect the renovations that they had done, but few worlds are more gossipy than the suburban New Jersey real estate, and rumors had already started to swirl about why the house sat empty. And then one broker emailed to say her client loved it, but that there are so many unsubstantiated rumors flying around from like that there's a sexual predator or a stalker. And so we don't want the house. So a Coldwell agent who hadn't read the letters told them in an email that they were being unnecessarily forthcoming. Quote, my friend got horrible threatening letters about her dog barking and she didn't think to disclose it. But the Broadduses insisted, I don't know how you live through what we did and think that you could just do it to somebody else. So of course we're going to disclose what's going on with this house. So good on them, but also, goddamn, that sucks. So let's see. The Broadduses felt that the name alone was ominous enough to merit mentioning to a few family members moving in, and on June 2nd, 2015, a year after buying 657 Boulevard, they filed a legal complaint against the Woodses, arguing that the Woodses should have disclosed that letter that they had received. Yeah. You know, and let them know that there is kind of an issue going on. There's some weirdo that thinks that he gets to watch the house. The Broadduses said that they hoped to reach a quiet settlement. Their kids still didn't know about the Watcher. Good on you guys for keeping that from your kids. And the lawyer assured them that at most it would be a small legal, like Newswire might pick up the story, but no. And then let's see. We do some creepy stories, Tamron Hall said on the Today Show a few weeks later. This might be top 10 creepy. And then a local reporter had found the complaint, which included snippets of the Watcher's menacing threats. And after a belated attempt by the Broadduses to seal it, the story went viral. Fuck. So news trucks camped out at 657 Boulevard, and one local reporter set up a lawn chair to conduct his own watch. The Broadduses got more than 300 media requests, but with the advice from crisis management consultant, referred by one of Derek's colleagues, they decided not to speak publicly to spare their kids even more attention, because at that point, then they're on the goddamn news. Right. So they vacated Westfield and went to a friend's beach house. They didn't find much peace there. Maria's grandfather had a heart attack, and the friend that they were staying with had a grand mal seizure. This poor family. So eventually, Derek and Maria sat down with their kids to explain what was happening and why they hadn't moved into the house. And the kids had tons of questions like, who is the Watcher? Where does this person live? Why is this person angry with us? And they're just like, how do you even have this conversation with the 5-year-old? And you tell them that your town isn't as safe as you think it is and there's a boogeyman obsessed with you? So the Watcher was a real life mystery to solve from a safer distance. And a commenter on NJ.com, NewJersey.com or whatever, suggested ground penetrating radar to find whatever the Watcher claimed was in the walls. Because, yeah, that's me. You still haven't looked into what's in the walls. The home inspector had already looked and told Derek the only issue was the aging home's lack of insulation. And then a group of Reddit users obsessed over Google Maps Street View showed a car parked in front of 657 that one user thought had, quote, a man holding a camera in the driver's seat. And then other more rational people saw a pixelated glare. They're like, that's not a camera, but thank you. I
don't fucking like that.
Can you imagine? You're sitting here going, let me help you solve this. Google Earth, what the hell is that car across the street? What is he holding? Oh my God. A range of proposed suspects included a jilted mistress, a spurned realtor, a local high schooler's creative writing project, guerrilla marketing for a horror movie, and, quote, mall goths having fun. I like the idea of mall goths having fun.
I was a mall emo, and at no point in my life was I like, you know what I'm going to do today? Terrify the fuck out of some
This could be fun.
My 13-year-old brain wasn't processing shit like that.
No. What all can I do? I think we egged a house. Like, that's it. No, we didn't. None of this. Some people thought that the Broadduses were wimps for not moving in. Quote, I would never let this sicko stop me from moving into a house, never back down from a terrorist. Which totally irked the Broadduses because, quote, none of them have read the letters or had their children threatened by someone that they didn't know. To decide whether this person's only nuts enough to write these letters and not do something, like what happens if they do something?
That's a huge fucking gamble.
Yep. Nope. In Westfield, people were on edge, and Lori Clancy, who teaches piano lessons in her house behind 657 Boulevard, told me that one of her students came for a lesson shortly after the Watcher news broke and started bawling. She was terrified to walk down the boulevard. It's so sad. So let me see if I mean, because this is just a ton of examples of all the bullshit, blah, blah, blah. So as Chambliss looked into the case, he discovered something surprising. Investigators had eventually conducted a DNA analysis on one of the envelopes, finally, and determined that the DNA belonged to a woman. Chambliss decided to look more closely at Abby Langford, Michael's sister, who worked as a real estate agent. She was upset about missing a commission right next door, maybe? She also worked at the local Lord & Taylor, and Chambliss coordinated with a security guard to nab her plastic water bottle during a shift, but Chambliss said the DNA was not a match.
No.
Not long after, the prosecutor's office gave Derek and Maria some unexpected news. They wouldn't say why or how, but they had ruled out the Langfords as suspects. So they were stunned. I am stunned. They had recently told prosecutors that they planned to file civic charges against the Langfords and wondered if the prosecutors were maybe lying to prevent the story from blowing up again. Quote, my family moved to the boulevard in 1961 and we never caused a problem for anybody, said Sandy Langford. This guy gets all these letters and all of a sudden people are pointing fingers at us.
A little creepy.
So
why were we not watching the creepy ass people in the backyard with the launching?
Thank you. I was like, look into more neighbors. So they did go through and the cops asked Andrea Woods for a DNA sample, the previous homeowner, and interviewed her 21-year-old son, who was surprised to find that he suddenly seemed to be a suspect a year after the fact. And it was hard to find fresh leads. And the initial police canvas had been so porous that it had missed a significant clue. Around the same time that the Broadduses had received their first letter, another family on the boulevard got a similar note from the Watcher. The parents of that family had lived in their house for years and their kids were grown, so they threw away the letter just like the Woodses had. But after the news broke, one of their children posted about it on Facebook and then deleted the post. When investigators spoke to the family, they confirmed that the letter had been similar to the Broaddus's, but its existence only made the case more confusing. There wasn't a whole lot to go on. So one night, Chambliss and a partner were sitting in the back of a van parked on the boulevard watching the house through a pair of binoculars, like you do. And around 11 p.m., a car stopped in front of the house, long enough for Chambliss to grow suspicious. He traced the car to a young woman in a nearby town whose boyfriend lived on the same block as 657. The woman told Chambliss her boyfriend was into, quote, some really dark video games, including, in Chambliss's memory, one in which he was playing a specific character, quote, the Watcher. As for the female DNA, Chambliss figured the girlfriend or someone else could have helped. The boyfriend was living elsewhere at the time, but Chambliss said that he agreed to come in for an interview. He never showed up either time that he agreed, and Chambliss didn't have enough evidence to compel him to show up. And with the media attention dying down, he dropped the case and moved on. Oh. Meanwhile, I'm like, y'all play some really dark, creepy video games. I'm just saying.
Oh, I guess there is a game called The Watchers. It's called The Watchers, though, plural. It is a co-op stealth haunting game in which a brother and sister try to uncover the truth about their mother's disappearance. You explore the sinister compound of a local cult and work together to evade enemies, but be careful, you are also watched.
Ew.
When did this game come?
Sounds kind of fun.
Oh no, this is like new, so that's not possible.
That's not it.
Oh. I'm trying to think, do I know any other video with a name similar to that? I mean, maybe like Witcher, like
I know. Well, that's
similar
name. I thought was The Witcher. Yeah. Well, and the other thing was, did he maybe just name his character The Watcher?
The Watcher.
Instead of it being, I don't know. But we do have one more theory, which me and you kind of talked about. The theory went so far as to say that the Broadduses had suffered buyer's remorse or realized that they couldn't afford that home and concocted an elaborate scheme to get out of the sale. Or that Derek was cooking up some kind of insurance fraud. Or maybe they were angling for a movie deal. The Broadduses received several offers but turned them down. Lifetime eventually released a movie called The Watcher despite a cease and desist letter from the Broadduses arguing that the couple in the movie was biracial, and the letters were signed The Raven.
The Raven? No.
The Raven. They're like, no, this isn't you guys. Look, they're biracial. And it doesn't say The Watcher. It says The Raven. Same exact story, though. So where was it? There's like huge numbers. The Broadduses had upgraded from a $315,000 house to a $770,000 house to a $1.3 million one and refinanced their mortgages. A few weeks after the letters became public, the Westfield Leader published an article in which anonymous neighbors were quoted asking why the Broadduses kept renovating a home that they weren't moving into or questioning whether they had really done that much renovating at all. The Leader even cast doubt on Maria's commitment to her family's safety, citing as evidence the fact that she had a public Facebook page with a photo of her kids. And then the paper did note that the police had tested Maria's DNA, but it did not match. So none of these theories make like a lot of logical sense. And they have answers for all of these different things. And then it starts talking about all the bullshit online. I love it because it mentions like Facebook and Twitter and Lord Fluffernutter and Reddit. And let's see. When Maria looks back fondly on her childhood, she was born a few years after Westfield resident John List infamously murdered his wife, mother, and 3 children in their home, and remembers a period when she and other kids were warned to look out for stranger vans driving around town. Quote, my mother always told me, don't have a false sense of security. It wasn't that bad things were going on all the time. It was that bad things happened everywhere. And she didn't want me to think of this neighborhood as Mayberry. And then clearly they buy a house there and fucking it's horrible.
Mm-hmm. So
I was like, look, John List, what? Yes, what'd you find?
I don't know if you're gonna get to this at some point. Is there
Keep going.
more of the article there?
There's so much more, and I'm skipping a lot.
Okay. So, alongside the fact that people thought they were doing this to like drum up some extra money, Derek at one point became so like frustrated and just angry. They eventually went to the HOA, and they had started asking about like demoing the house, maybe splitting it into 2 lots. They figured it was big enough that they would be able to split it into 2 lots. But the HOA, of course, argued that if they split it into 2 lots, there wouldn't be the appropriate amount of distance that was needed between the houses. You know how HOA, they have stupid shit.
We want them all spaced out.
Yeah, they wanted them all spaced out with a certain amount of properties, a certain amount of space. So they argued that there wouldn't be enough. So their appeal to demolish the house and split it into 2 lots was denied. So Derek, getting so angry and frustrated, eventually writes a bunch of anonymous letters to the neighbors, the people in the neighborhood, and it's like, nightmare. You know, like, oh, you guys denied their petition, you know, we'll get you for that, stuff like that. Of course, all these people receive all these letters, and now, based off of that letter, is really why the police started looking at, like, maybe the Broadduses did this themselves just for attention. Yeah. But then, of course, with the wife having to go to therapy and him being on medications, he admitted to doing it, and he was like, honestly, it was kind of just like an act of desperation. Like, I just wanted somebody to stop. So that's why he sends all these letters out to the neighborhood.
Oh. See, this article's from 2018. And I have now down here, the Watcher was also no longer the only person sending anonymous letters in Westfield. Last Christmas Eve, several families received an envelope in their mailboxes. They'd been delivered by hand to the homes of people who had been most vocal in criticizing the Broadduses online. Yep. One of them, who lived a few blocks down the boulevard, had written on Facebook, quote, "I wish we could go back to the days of tar and feathers. I have just the couple in mind." Another family who got the letter told me it was, quote, "weirdly poetic," as the Watcher had been, and it accused the families of speculating inaccurately about the Broadduses. And it included several stories about recent acts of domestic terrorism in which signs of brewing mental illness had gone unnoticed. And the type letters were signed "Friends of the Broaddus family."
Yeah, and that was the letters that Derek. Those are the letters that he wrote, and he was just pissed. Like, and he, like I said, he admits to it, and then people are like, it makes you seem even more suspicious that you endure all of these years of hell with these letters, and then you turn to the same mode of threatening people through letters.
Yeah, you nightmare person.
But again, he said it was just like an act of vengeance.
Yep. So that's where I got, this is, I believe, the end of the article now. But yeah, it's him sitting down with this guy, and yeah, where did it go? So the people who had received the letters didn't know who sent them, but the tone had a familiar ring. When I asked Derek Broaddus whether he had written them, he paused for a moment and then admitted he had. He wasn't proud of it. He hadn't even told his wife, and he said that they were the only anonymous letters he'd written. But he had felt driven to his wits' end, fed up with watching silently as people threw accusations at his family based on practically nothing. One of the people who received the letter told me that they had never met the Broadduses and had no interest in doing so. And the Watcher had been obsessed with 657 Boulevard, and Derek, in turn, had become obsessed with the Watcher and everything the letters had set in motion. Quote, "It's like cancer," he told me. "We think about it every day." And then sitting at the Westfield train station, Derek handed me his phone so I could read the 4th letter. Quote, "You are despised by the house." And the Watcher won.
You know what my favorite part of those letters is? Like, it's just like the fact that he's like, you know what I'm gonna do to piss everybody in the neighborhood off? Maybe it'll piss off the Watcher. Stick letters in there, man. See how you guys feel. Like, sir, what are you doing? That's childish. That's childish AF. And like, everybody's like, oh, they did this all for financial reasons. Look at all the things that they were gonna gain from this. But they didn't take any movie They didn't take any book deals. They didn't do any of that. The most childish thing that they did for financial gain was suing the Woods family. Like,
yeah. For not letting us know, for not giving us a heads up on the one letter you received that you threw away because you didn't think it was important.
Right. I don't know. This case is just weird. And I 100%.
And there's no answer. We don't know who the watcher is.
The house actually did sell in 2019 for like
bless them,
several $100,000 less than they wanted.
I'm sorry. So they're living in it during a pandemic?
No.
Imagine.
No, it's sold 29. I mean, yeah, the new people.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to your house. Hope
but
you
it's
like it.
Interesting because I don't think that those new people have reported any letters.
Probably not. Maybe they don't have any young blood.
But again, a lot of people kind of question, like, was this an inside job? Did these people do this themselves? And like, just like, drum this whole thing up. But I just don't really see it.
I mean, because that's the thing. He could be faking his craziness, but man, it has affected his wife for not, like, I mean, it drove her to the point of like lots of, crying and PTSD and all that shit. It's like, either she was involved and she's faking it too, or like, man, you fucked with your wife's head and you jerk.
Now, there is, and this is funny, there's a strange connection to, what is it? It's Unsolved Mysteries. It's an old ass episode. But there's two people, Dorothy and Bill Wacker, and in the episodes there's called the Wackers. And out of nowhere, they live in a small town in Ohio, and they said that they lived there for most of their lives, and then all of a sudden they just started being harassed.
Is it Circleville, Ohio?
No, Stark County.
Damn.
No, it is not the Circleville writer.
Okay. I was like, is it Circleville?
No, it is not the Circleville writer. That is a weird ass story.
Shit happens.
If you guys don't know about the Circleville writer, if you go back through our videos, I posted a video about this.
Yep.
It's
a trip.
Yeah, Ange and I are not speaking on it, but it's a video about it. And basically, they like get all kinds of weird stuff. Their house gets ransacked. Strange people knock on their doors. They like hide in their house and stuff. They come home and like possessions have been stolen, and they get like messages like written inside their house in crayon. It says like cheaper, but it'll do.
Yeah.
Or like this time, haha, next time we'll get it, haha. Like it's just weird shit. And then they start calling them and threatening them with violence and just like breathing deeply into the phone, things like that. And like they like put like front porch lights up to like watch out, and people are like, oh, you guys are a laugh riot. And of course, like this has never ever been solved, but how funny would it be if like the Broadduses see this episode of like Unsolved Mysteries and they're like, this is how we get out of owning this house.
Yeah. Look,
these people are the Wackers. We've got the Watcher. Like,
yeah, right.
Or like
inspiration comes from anywhere.
Some crazy person that sees this and is like, I'm gonna do that. A lot of people do actually believe that it was the boy who played the video games, because it's just weird that he's like camping out front of their house at 11 o'clock at night.
And also didn't want to come in for any police questioning.
Yeah,
and
just never
had access to a girl's DNA.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
If I walk up to Joey and I'm like, hey, I don't like... Can you lick that for me? Like, he's gonna do it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Meanwhile, you guys, if you don't want to put DNA on your envelopes, take a sponge, dip it in water, seal it.
I said that if I handed you an envelope and I said, hey, can you lick this for me? Okay. Like,
yeah,
weird question, but okay.
You want me to lick the stamp too? Like, that's funny. Good.
That's
all we got. Let's see, we did it. Sorry, I found the world's longest article, so
that's okay.
Here's where we're at.
like I said, it's just strange. They are wild people, and honestly,
I know.
who really knows what happened?
No, I know. So I'll say Monday. Are we back with Hunt a Killer? Or are we still doing? Okay, good. Y'all, three
Box
of
3.
series 2.
Yeah.
So if you're not on the Discord yet, get on the Discord because shit gets dropped in there,
shoot
so
us
you
a
can see some
message
evidence.
so that you guys can get the evidence. That is you have to request it from us so that you can get in there, because sometimes there might be like spoiler stuff, so you do have to request it from us.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, I was like, come play with us Monday. This will be fun.
Ooh. Yay.
Good. And guys, our schedule may be a little whack for a while because I'm going to be stage managing a show. Flip's got a lot of work. We'll see what, poor John's going through some shit. So we'll be fine, but we'll be here.
There will
for sure
be one Thursday. I don't know if it's next Thursday. I forget with Bo. But there will be a Thursday that I'm not able to have by 3.
Yep. Oh, is that next Thursday? You're doing my script.
I am.
I wrote that shit. You're going to be acting in it. I'm so excited. Yeah, he's like, guess what? I'm going to be directing your script. And I got, Flip and Elaine to play you and Marcy. I mean, these character names. I'm like, nah, it's me and Marcy.
I think I'm Marcy.
Conversation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm Marcy. So,
are you the engineer or are you the cleaning lady? Because we definitely name our professions.
Yeah, I'm Marcy.
That's so
Elaine
funny.
is you. I am Marcy.
As long as you guys speak with our the way we talk, you're good. If you need to pronounce anything like taqueria or Acapulco's or Politera.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the only one is Politera, yeah. But I figured that out. Like,
you're good. I trust y'all. Y'all are smart. And y'all know where it came from, so I'm like, just ask.
Right. As soon as I was reading it, I was like, wow, I can hear it.
Isn't it horrible? You're like, I know these voices.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I hear it. Wild. So,
well, what's funny is when she's like, submit the script, and I was like, oh, some director's gonna butcher my shit. And then it was about going, I got your script, and I'm like, it's in good hands.
I was like, I just have to put myself in the place of Benjamin.
Yep. Done. These goofy asses. I'm excited. I can't wait to see it.
Sitting there with Elaine, and I'm like, no, Elaine, that's not how Ange would say that.
Tone it down. There's no high inflection on any of that shit.
We're just chilling. Like,
monotone and cussing. Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys. Thank you for joining us for another Thursday. We will see you guys on Monday at 8 p.m. with our next Hunt a Killer box.
Yep.
You guys know the deal. And what is the deal? Be aware of your surroundings. Don't let creepy ass people watch your house, dog. Like, close your blinds at night. Don't just let your children run around all willy-nilly, But really, honestly.
If a cop says, what the fuck is this? You go, it's fucking evidence, you shitbag.
Yeah, if the cop says, what the fuck is this? Then you look at him and say, well, you tell me what the fuck it is. Like,
yeah, this is your job. Handle this.
But yes, please be aware of your surroundings, lock your doors, take care of yourselves, take care of others, be kind to yourselves and be kind to others. Don't get murdered. Don't murder other people.
Addendum.
There's a little asterisk.
You know the addendum. Oh my god. And thank you to the Last Electric Rodeo Band for allowing us to use their song Bronze Age of Horror at the end of each one of our episodes. If you want to learn more about them, go to lastelectricrodeo.com or find them on Facebook at Last Electric Rodeo.
New album, fingers crossed, coming out this year. Woo, 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 woo.
Lord, please. Let us have one gig.
Yes. Be safe. Peace out, Cub Scouts.
Bye.